Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to the Richmond Common Council meeting for March the 16th, 2026. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer from Councilor Parker.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for our many blessings. We ask for continued blessings for our armed service and for all of our citizens of Richmond, Indiana. Help us tonight to make the correct decisions on these ordinances. Let these ordinances benefit all of our citizens and continue to move Richmond forward. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Doug Goss.
Here.
Lucinda Wright.
Linda.
Bill Engel.
Linda's not here, but Lucinda is.
Okay.
Here.
Did I say Bill Engel?
I go by Linda.
Do you? Larry Parker.
Here.
Ann Taylor.
Here.
Gary Turner.
Here.
Jane Bumbelow.
Here.
Justin Burkhart.
Here.
And Jerry Purcell.
Here.
All are present.
Thank you. At this point, we're looking at approval of the minutes. You've received the minutes from our meeting from March the 2nd. Are there any questions, comments, amendments?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Purcell.
yes, in the minutes, it states that the police chief, Kyle Weatherly, was present at the last meeting, and he was not present, so I would like to have the minutes amended.
Check that out.
So moved.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes with the omission, the amendment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Presentations of petitions, memorials, complaints, introductions, motions, and resolutions. The mayor is not with us tonight. You all have received the minutes from the February 12th and 19th meeting of the Board of Public Works. Are there any questions or comments from that?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Purcell.
is this a point where we would consider resolution number 9?
They want to do it with 11.
With 11?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Reports from department heads, standing committees, special committees, and organizations. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the Street Tree Commission Board nomination of Jason Sleet. Is that lucky individual here tonight?
Do you have any other nominations?
Jane, are you a member of
Yes,
Street
I
Tree?
am. I have not heard. I expected someone to be here this evening, so
Okay.
I have no.
So does anyone have any nominations for Street Tree? Hearing none, then,
Here's,
oh,
no, she's part of Street Tree.
Is that Jason?
I don't think that's Jason.
No.
We could hold it till the next meeting.
You
Why,
won't be able to till next
in the meantime, before the next meeting, if you have any nominations, would you bring those? And we will look to accept someone for the Street Tree Commission. Okay. Next up, we have the Fire Department, the annual report.
Good evening, council members.
Good evening.
Jeff Kindred, Chief of Richmond Fire Department. Before I start my annual report, I'm going to touch a little bit of history made in 2025 for the Richmond Fire Department. For the first time in Richmond Fire Department promoted the first female fire company officer to the rank of lieutenant. Kelsey Long was promoted on 8/1 of 2025. On 1/1/25, firefighter Gabe Morris completed his probation, making him a consecutive fifth-generation fire department firefighter, starting with firefighter Henry Clark from 1942 to 1967. His son, firefighter Charlie Clark from 1964 to 1997. His son, Tim Clark, to 1991 The 2017, Charlie's grandson, firefighter Chris Morris, at 2010 to present, making Gabe Morris, Chris Morris' son, 5 generations.
Oh, wow.
Richmond Fire Department. That's a milestone. So both these firefighters expressed they do not want recognized, but I think it's very important to place in the public record for the history of the Richmond Fire Department.
Very good.
Okay, as far as the report goes, hiring remained our top report priority. We had 14 new hires in '25. I've hired 5 in 2026. That's a total of, I've hired 27 new hires in the last 24 months. I have 39 members with 4 years or less. We hope to be fully staffed by this summer. And our average age of service is a historic low at 10.1 years of service. Hitting our staffing needs will help reduce overtime and be cost savings. Retention is another top issue in the Richmond Fire Department. One of the biggest reasons with the mandatory overtime that we've been experiencing for the last 2 years. And if we can clean that up and hopefully get rid of some of the department burnout and the firefighter fatigue that we've had over the last 3 years. And that becomes a major concern for our firefighters' mental health and wellness. Department training is a must with our youth. Our priority is core firefighting, core EMS, and officers. That's the 3 phases because we have half our department so young. Core firefighting, core EMS, and then we got to find officers, future officers. We're also working to finalize the merit commission. It should be hopefully by the end of this month. Okay, to our call data. On 2025 runs, we totaled 10,916 calls, a reduction of 4 calls from the 2024 of 10,920 calls. Our 3-year average of 10,718 calls increased of 109 calls per year, but we did fall off last year. 79% of our call volume is EMS, with 21% fire and other calls. We saw a reduction in overdose calls by 25% in 2024 and down 54% since 2022. We did have a confirmed fire increase volume from 158 in 2024 to 235 in 2025. We averaged 30 calls per day, and call volume is consistent every day of the week. As far as training goes, we did bring in rope rescue training from an outside instructor. We brought in an outside instructor in confined space tech training. We brought in an outside instructor for hazmat technician training for the tech level, and we have 14 new techs. We graduated 12 firefighters through Firefighter 1 and 2, and 7 paramedics graduated in 2025. We currently have 6 paramedics in class in 2025-26, and we'll have another class start in August of this year. As far as the capital goes, Station 1 got a new parking lot, new wagon room doors, and an ice machine. Station 2 got a new parking lot, remodel, new front ramp. The training ground parking lot was sealed, the training house repaired, and a big fan installed in the garage at the training ground. We also bought a Swiftwater inflatable boat, and we also reboxed an ambulance in 2025. There's more broken down data within the information in this report. If there's any other questions, I'll entertain some questions at this time.
Mr. President?
Mr. Purcell.
Yes, Chief. You talked about the rope rescue class.
Correct.
What was your percentage of passage on that class?
I think I have 9 that passed.
How many took it?
There was 18 total.
18, so 50%
Yes.
passed. Now, when you count your rescue techs, did all 18 go ahead and take the rescue tech class?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I don't have that number how many guys got that completed.
Okay. But as I understand it, they can't be techs without passing the
Right.
rope class.
It's being worked on.
Okay, thank you.
We're not giving up. It's a process. We're so young, and we're throwing so much at them. It's a challenge for them, a lot of them.
I can't imagine the challenge. How many Maydays did you have called last year?
Just one.
Okay.
And that was a firefighter that crawled into a building, and the floor was gone as he crawled through and fell down to the second floor. The vent pipes and stuff caught him, but he was safe and everything, wasn't hurt, but the Mayday was called, and it was
That's scary.
eye-opening for us, and more training and how to.
Well, at that youth, it's difficult. Definitely, they need mentors.
Yes. And
Senior
we're
officers.
working very hard at that. Very
Now-
aware of that.
The other question I have is how many working structure fires did you have last year?
It was 96, I believe. I had pulled it out of my report. Because we did go up in, because working structure fires, there's structure fires, garage fires get kind of tossed into that. So that number did go up. There was 21 residential fires.
Okay, 21, that's.
Yes, there was
numbers
15
were-
vehicle fires, and there was 23 other fires, and 41 outside rubbish fires, and outside other fires. So those all get kind of, all confirmed fires.
Do you know off the top of your head what your average EMS response time is now?
Not off the top of my head, I don't. Like I said,
Would you get back with me
yeah,
with that?
I can do that.
Thank you.
Like I said, I can pull that from dispatch. Like I said, this data is pulled from our run numbers and data numbers that we pull from our data.
Thank you for the report.
Chief, with the training and your guys and girls going through this, what, are we in a situation where kind of train the trainer to where like our high school training instructor can lead those classes for our members moving forward?
Well, we have six trick trainers on staff too, that the training officer dictates that training down to the trick trainers. Those trick trainers work on their shifts because there's 2 per shift. And that's how we do it that way. So, because the primary job of our EMS or our training chief is to get guys certified, because we need so many guys certified. That's his primary job, is certification. The day-to-day training issues get put into our trick trainers and then on the lieutenants as they come in and do trainings, monthly rotations. And basically, there's a 24-month, right now we have a 24-month, every month there's something that, a discipline they work on every month, and they have to go through hands-on. As basic as hose attack, fire attack, hose line advancement, they're all doing it.
I just noticed that you said brought in an outside person. I didn't know if
Well,
anybody from
because
the
on
inside
on
could.
specialized training, when it comes to hazmat techs or rope rescue techs or those techs, sometimes we need outside training to come in and do that. That's their specialty, is to get those guys ready.
Gotcha.
Mr. President,
Mr. Purcell.
I have another question. Sorry, Chief. Do you have a hiring committee that interviews and recommends new hires?
Well, because of the merit, 2 years ago, we started this process. We have an interview board. That interview board sends that recommendation to me. And it's either, they're scored, and they take their testing scores, and that stuff gives a number, and that's recommendation, hire or not hire, and that's given to me. So I don't see them until it's given to that board, which that will slide into the merit commission, because there's 15 questions per the interview questions that's been through our HR department and okayed, so that will slide into the merit commission, and they would do that same thing. Once that's up and running, they'll be the ones that do the interview process, and they'll let me know if it's, and they'll put them in a list in order, because that's what we're planning on doing.
Have you ever made an exception to their recommendation?
There's been 2 times that it's come to me that it's been a 50-50 call. They were split on the thing, and both times I erred to hire the person, and I'm 50-50. One we kept, one we let go.
Thank you.
Mr. Parker.
Chief, did I understand you to say we had 18 firefighters take the EMS test and only 9?
No, that was rope rescue, or rope rescue tech. That's the technical level of the rope. That's where they, like if rescue's off, like at the bridge, the other day, or a couple months ago, when they had the bridge, the rope rescue guys all harnessed up, those are the techs.
Okay, how about on the EMS? How many people took that test?
They all have to pass. Everybody has to pass the EMS, EMT, everybody has to pass. It's
Well,
a
they get
job
to-
requirement.
Do they get two shots at
They
that?
get, a new hires, they get 3 times, after they come out of the class, they get 3 attempts at it, and then we reevaluate how close they are, because you have to score at least a 960 on the test, and if they're let's say if they're at 600, they're not going to get to 900. But if they're 940, they're right there, then we'll try to help them out as much as we possibly. We help them all out, but I mean, there's lines that we look at.
Do they lose their job if they don't pass?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Kinder?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Engel.
I see, looking through the numbers, suspicious persons Do you get a lot of calls for
Well,
suspicious?
sometimes, it just depends how, in our data, it depends how the dispatcher codes it in.
Oh, okay.
Just like I said, some runs went up, some runs went up and some went down, but mental health and a man down could be, right, same thing, could be different how it's coded in. So that's how those numbers get coded in by the
So that could be-
dispatcher.
That could be coded in as a suspicious person.
Sometimes those come in, they get called in, and sometimes we get dispatched to those, sometimes we don't. It just depends on the dispatcher when they call them in. Because if we get toned out for something, we're going on it until
Sure.
we're called off.
Sure. And I noticed the number, or the numbers for mental health trend is up 40.5% since 2022.
Right, but like I said, if you look at the man down drop, so I don't know if they coded in more mental health, which that caused the man down to drop, whatever. We don't know that. We just know by how it's coded for the statistics. When we run numbers, that's what it comes out as.
Do you think, are we moving toward a point where it would be good if we had a mental health professional either on the
Well,
police?
I have that right in front because I thought that question might come to me because I have the Stride Center numbers for Richmond, and they made this is the Richmond Stride Center's numbers. They made 1,089 calls.
Who's that?
The Stride Center they're
Okay.
an organization that deals with the homeless, mental health. It's a way it really affects RPD more than it does us because now RPD can go on a suspicious person, man down, mental health problem, and they can take it straight to that person, straight to the Stride Center. And the Stride Center, and they call it a handshake or handoff, and then they can find them help for housing or a place to stay. That's kind of their job.
Okay.
We go hand in hand and we support that, but like I said, it's probably seeing a reduction for us in some of those runs, but like I said, it affects the hospital, RPD, and us. That's where those numbers come into play.
Okay. And then just last question, the false alarms, is that number, I can't tell if it's up or down.
You know, it
Is
just,
that an issue?
false alarm, well, like I said, when you have bad weather, wind, things set off alarms. We get alarms for, like I said, and we have to go as full response, and then we make sure, verify that it's a false alarm, it's a false alarm we return.
Okay.
Because a lot of these alarm systems, like I said, you get a drop in water pressure in the sprinkler system, causes an alarm.
Got it.
Power goes out, you get alarms.
Okay.
That's what those are,
Great.
how we deal with those.
Thanks, Chief. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yeah, Mr. Purcell.
Sorry, Chief. I read through your report and just things keep popping up. I saw quite a drop in responses to drug overdoses. Can you attribute that to anything in particular?
Well, I would think, I would probably need my help from the police on that, because I don't know if there's been a change in drug habits in town is one. Less fentanyl in town would be one. So I don't know, because I know that's a kind of a national epidemic, and I think the government's been trying to lower that fentanyl stuff, so maybe we see a reduction in the last couple of years over that, the fentanyl. But like I said, I have to ask it with the police on their numbers as far as what they see.
I was surprised it was quite a percentage of drop. I
Right.
don't remember the exact number.
Well, there's other reasons why, but you
Yeah.
can understand those.
It was actually about 50%.
Yeah.
Yes,
Happy news.
Drastic, yes. Thank you.
right.
Any other questions for Chief Kinder?
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ordinance on first reading.
Want to make a motion, Doug?
Yes. That's what I was waiting on.
Mr. President.
Mr. President. He did that.
What?
Go ahead and let Doug say it.
Go ahead.
Make a motion to read ordinance 16 and ordinance 17, 2026, and 18
And 19.
and 19 by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to read ordinance 16, 17, 18, and 19 by title only. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Ordinance number 16, 2026, a special ordinance amending prior tax abatement ordinance number 56-2023 for Liberation Labs.
Good evening, Beth Fields, Director of Strategic Initiatives. I am going to speak to ordinances 16 and 17 collectively. Liberation Bioindustries is requesting an extension to the 24-month project completion timeframe previously approved in ordinances 56-2023 and 14-2024. Due to fundraising delays, the completion of the precision fermentation plant has been moved back from 25 to the second half of 26. The company plans to ramp up their local hiring in the second quarter of 26 to ensure that the facility is fully staffed by the end of the year. And I respectfully request that these two ordinances be referred to the Tax Abatement Committee.
Thank you, Beth. Are there any questions for Beth as it relates to ordinance 16 or 17 Liberation Labs?
Mr. President.
Mr. Purcell.
Ms. Fields, has there been an estimate of this extension as far as where they think they're at and when they might be finished with this project?
Sorry, pull the letter back out here. So they intend to continue increasing their local hiring during the second quarter of 2026, and the facility would be fully staffed by the end of 2026. And they expect to have all of the equipment installed by the completion of a total of a 48-month period. So with this additional 24 months, everything would be installed and they would be fully operational at that time.
I think people might want to understand that this is the first of this type of company in the United States, and that it could be quite the boon and bring other industry that depends on the protein manufacturing that they're going to be doing.
Absolutely. This is a first of its kind facility here in the United States. And as a startup company and something that you're starting new, of course, getting investors, doing the fundraising that you need for each of these rounds. Sometimes that doesn't go exactly according to the timeline that you had initially planned, but they are having great success with their investors and with getting customers on board to move forward, and we look forward to their being fully operational.
Any other questions for Beth? Then I would like to assign ordinance 16 and 17 to Tax Abatement Committee, if you could coordinate.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 18, 2026, a special ordinance amending the zoning map for a certain parcel from institutional district to general commercial district.
Ordinance 18, 2026 is a zoning map amendment for the property addressed 6412 National Road East. They are requesting to rezone that property from institutional to general commercial. The rezone would allow the Uranus 3 Land LLC to develop the property commercially and to extend use of their existing business. This ordinance is respectfully requested to be referred to the Plan Commission for public hearing at their March 25th meeting.
Any questions for Beth as it relates to ordinance 18? Hearing none, we will recommend that to Plan Commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 19, 2026, this is an appropriation ordinance for Richmond Sanitary District.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Pat Smoker, Richmond Sanitary District. Yes, this ordinance is to appropriate funds to the Richmond Sanitary District Tax Fund. In 2025, as you probably remember us discussing several times, the district received a grant, a 50-50 matching grant, to replace recycling equipment, and we are going through an overhaul of the overall recycling program at the same time. We did not have time to award those bids and to close on those deals in 2025, so I'm asking to reappropriate those, our 50-50 portion of the grant that was in the 2025 funds, to reappropriate those to the 2026 budget. And this is advertised to be on public hearing at the next council meeting.
Okay. Any questions for Pat as it relates to ordinance 19?
Mr. President,
Mr. Purcell.
Pat, so if this is a 50/50 match, I assume that we're getting a $250,000 grant.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Does the cost of all this exceed the 500,000? Is that the reason this is a clean number of 250 for equipment?
That is, the actual grant is like 498,000, or the total project is for, so our portion would be like 246 or 247, something of that nature. We appropriated 250 last year when we were in the budget process, because as we were pressing for the grant, we did not yet have the grant. In fact, in the budget, it said pending a grant. We were estimating that cost. So the 250 might be over that. We have not closed all the deals, though, for the marketing and education portion. So, there's 2,000 or 3,000 that may be over in our portion of this, but again, we haven't closed that last piece of this yet. So.
Well, hopefully, when you come to finance, we'll have some more detail on that.
We probably won't close on the marketing education until later this year.
Thank
We
you.
have closed on the 2 pieces of equipment. I would say we've closed on really close to about 400 of the 500 total project costs, or the almost 500. But there is that other portion that probably won't be done until, with lead times and contracts, we probably won't have the equipment in place till near the end of the year. And that's when kind of that education piece will roll out, because we don't want to send education prior to being able to execute the changes to the program. So we'll be getting quotes and stuff on those aspects, but it'll be probably a few months on that.
Thank you for that explanation.
Any other questions for Pat? Hearing none, I'd like Finance Committee to take this under review at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second reading.
Yes, please.
Resolution 9, declaration of official intent to reimburse expenditures.
So Resolution 9 is not public hearing, but I'd like to open the floor for council if council has any questions, comments. If Finance Committee wants to speak on.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Purcell.
Yes, the Finance Committee has met, plus there's been several meetings with Denise and with the bonding agent on this subject, and it has been highly discussed and very frankly discussed with our Parks Director, who is open to that discussion. And what this, I don't know if everyone knows what this will do. What this will do is this will give us a temporary loan to do some emergency projects that need to be done now. Projects such as roofs, maintenance to our golf course, et cetera, with the pump being out for watering the greens, et cetera, et cetera. So what this will do is establish a loan until we have history to get a good bond rate on the bonds if we do decide to issue bonds. What our decision and conversation centered around with the Finance Committee was this will also give us time to look at the income of the bonds, and at the end of this temporary loan, we can determine at that point in time whether or not we're going to bond the project or pay the project off for these emergency repairs. So the recommendation of the Finance Committee is in support of this.
Thank you. Actually, I'd like to give the floor to AJ at this point. If you could also, depending on what you were going to bring up, kind of take us back through quickly of the ban and what this would mean for us in the event that someone's tuning in for the first time.
And I would echo what Mr. Purcell just indicated relative to the entirety of all 3 of these documents. So you're looking at the resolution, Ordinance 11/2026, excuse me, and Ordinance 12/2026. Resolution 9/2026 is a reimbursement resolution. So any monies that are expended prior to receiving in bond or ban monies, the city's able to reimburse itself once those proceeds come in. So that's what 9 does. When we move to 11, we're talking about the ban and the bond. The ban is a bond anticipation note, and it is what it sounds like. So in anticipation of issuing a bond, the city is contemplating taking that ban, which is kind of quick money that can be utilized to the tune of about $4.8 million. Subsequent to that, the city would be authorizing a potential bond of up to $11 million, and that may not be an exact number, but around that range. But I can say that in generalities because you will have an opportunity to look at the tax collection revenue from food and beverage over a period of time until such time that it is determined that the bond would be taken out. And so there's been conversation around the idea that at a minimum, you would be looking at a bond to cover the ban, that $4.8 million, but you do not need to take up to $11 million. You will be able to examine tax collection revenues over that period of time to make an informed decision at that point in time. So that's what those two, the resolution and the ordinance would accomplish. And then Ordinance 12, 2026, again, in that same vein, simply appropriates the proceeds from the bond revenue. And one additional point I want to make about that ordinance is that subsequent to a discussion from the last meeting, there were talks about incorporating an exhibit, which is a project list, which council all has at this point, and I believe that's the recommendation of Finance Committee to incorporate that exhibit.
Yes.
So that's what all three of those do individually, but in conjunction with one another. You would be authorizing reimbursement, the issuance of a bond would be taken out at a later date, and then finally, you would be approving those proceeds, the appropriation of those proceeds with the incorporation of the exhibit in Ordinance 13, 2026. So it's kind of a mouthful, but I'm happy to entertain any questions about those three documents.
So maybe in simple terms then, and living in hypotheticals, what is that, if council, based on council's pleasure this evening, were to move forward with this, what would that timeline look like per se?
Well, I have in front of me a timetable, and perhaps Lisa Lee with Ice Miller can speak to this more intelligently than I can because she is our bond counsel. But we have timelines that include closing on the ban the week of March 30th, bond sales negotiated in the fall or winter of 2026, with the bond closing and ban redemption in the fall or winter of 2026. So it would kind of give you that time frame. But again, if there are more specific details that Ms. Lee wanted to address, or I'd be happy to ask her to address council as well.
Thank you, AJ. Members of the council, Lisa Lee with Ice Miller. From a procedural timing perspective, if it is the pleasure of the council to approve these documents this evening, the next step would be for Baker Tilly to send out a term sheet to market the bond anticipation note, and we anticipate that being done in time for a closing near the April 1st or April 15th timeframe, and you would actually have band proceeds at that time. You could order equipment, order the pumps, those kind of long lead time situations that you have. So it would be fairly quick if the council acts this evening.
So this would be essentially food and beverage is being collected now, or will be, and people will join retroactively, the restaurants. And so that money, as that would slowly move in, this would give us capital then to jump in and start getting these things done, essentially.
Correct.
Does council have any questions for Ms. Lee as she's at the podium?
Mr. President,
Mr. Purcell?
one of the questions that the Finance Committee had for our controller was about the tax being collected, and that you just brought up, the food and beverage tax. And the accounts are set up, and that money will go into those accounts and stay there until we make a final decision on everything. Thank you.
Mr. President, if there are no further questions, I move to approve resolution number 9.
Mr. President, I have a question
Yes.
on Resolution 9. AJ, you said that is a temporary loan that the city will reimburse, for the city to reimburse itself for making the emergency repairs like the roof out at the Parks Department. Or did I misunderstand that?
Well, sort of. Resolution 9 allows for the city to reimburse itself from those proceeds at a later date if it expends its own monies in advance or contemplation of receiving in the ban and bond proceeds. So it's something we do with bond resolutions, and Denise could speak to that if there are immediate needs that she would need to satisfy out of city coffers prior to receiving in the bond monies. She would have the ability, the city would, to reimburse itself for those monies that are spent. So that's what Resolution 9 does.
Once the food and beverage tax is collected, or if we get the bond.
Correct.
Okay.
I have a second to that. No questions?
Does that satisfy your question, Dr. Wright?
Yes,
Do you have a further question?
I'm good.
We do have a motion, a second. Do you have another question?
The only thing that we want to make everyone understand, and this has been made clear at our meeting, is we will be in expectation of a plan from our Parks Director that we will consider before we look at the second part of this bond for the full $11 million to show how that we are going to continue to maintain the parks and what her plan is for that, so we do not defer maintenance anymore into the future.
So we have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 9 as stated. Any further comments? Hearing none. Can we do a roll call, Ms.?
Sure.
Thank you.
Doug Goss,
Aye.
Lucinda Wright,
No.
Bill Engel,
Aye.
Larry Parker.
Aye.
Ann Taylor,
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumbelow.
Aye.
Jerry Purcell.
Aye.
Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
8-1 in favor.
Okay. Ordinance number 11.
An ordinance of the City of Richmond, Indiana, authorizing the issuance of general revenue bonds for the purpose of providing funds to acquire, construct, and install park and recreation improvements, together with all necessary appurtenances, related improvements, and equipment, providing for the safeguarding of the interest of the owners of said bonds, other matters connected therewith, and repealing ordinances inconsistent herewith.
Thank you. So ordinance number 11 is on public hearing. We open public hearing and still open. So at this point in time, if you've already spoke, if you have anything new, we would welcome you. Or if you haven't spoke, we would also welcome you. So I believe that the last time I opened for those in favor, so I'll open for those opposed to ordinance 11. If someone would like to come to the podium and speak in opposition of ordinance number 11,
Mr. President, do we have a time frame on?
2 minutes. Yes.
Thank you.
Hearing no opposition, would someone in the audience like to come and speak in favor of ordinance number 11?
Good evening.
Good evening.
If you could state your name.
My name is Mike Devine, and I live at 907 Rosewood Drive here in Richmond. And I am a member of the Parks and Recreation Board and have had the privilege to work with several of you to develop on the committee to develop the food and beverage tax plan. I come to you rather biased in favor of support of the BAM and the bond. And now that, and I'm speaking basically for the two ordinances that you'll be addressing. I certainly feel the passing of the ordinance to enact the tax the hardest part of this process. Now it is time, I think, for the Park Department to be in a position to move quickly to utilize this funding and move the defined projects forward and show the public that we are serious about our plan. The sooner the better from my perspective, and that is why I ask for your consideration and approval of this proposal. Just a point of interest, I went to Gallows for dinner last night on my birthday.
Congratulations.
And I did a calculation about the revenue or the tax that was applied to my dinner. And the food and beverage tax is being applied at that point, so the collection process has started. I personally have been a volunteer and board member of the Richmond Rose Garden for 26 years. And so the E.G. Hill Memorial Garden is of specific and especially near and dear to me, so that the fountain, which is one of the main projects to get started with this funding. That's my 2 minutes.
It is
Well,
birthday boy.
anyway, that was dedicated in 1937, the E.G. Hill Memorial Garden, and Mr. Mayor Walterman said at that dedication that the city of Richmond would maintain that fountain in perpetuity. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Now, I'll stop. Here's my time's up. But for this legacy, and E.G. Hill, who also designed the Glen Miller Park in 1890, I want you to know that that legacy is something we want to support, and we want to do it now, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'd like to open it back up to anyone that is opposed to this ordinance to come forward and speak.
Howard Price, 3063 Dogwood Lane. If I understand what's going on up here is that we're going to pay for some stuff going on to do some emergency repairs, and if all that goes well and we get reimbursed, and if the revenue shows that it will support the bond, you're going to go ahead with the bond. I personally don't like paying double or 1.5 times money on a bond when, if you manage your money better from the revenue that you're getting, which I supported for the 1%, to make sure that the repairs get made the way they should be. So if it ends up at the very end that there's going to be a bond, I don't support that. I just can't. I just don't see paying more for something in the short term, even though it's going to benefit people, and I might still be around to see it if it gets done quickly, but that's not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about taking on more debt over a long period of time, and if I read that article right, about if somehow we fail to pay the bond with the 1% tax, we're going to go into property tax. Now, I could very well be reading that wrong, but I don't think that's right to do that. Okay? So, thank you.
Thank you, Howard.
Thank you.
AJ, can you confirm or deny that, or?
The bond ordinance would allow repayment from any legally available source of funds, but the anticipation is, based on the projections from our financial analysts at Baker Tilly, is that there would be 192% debt coverage, so there is no anticipation that any other funds outside of the food and beverage tax would be utilized as a repayment source, but it is available if necessary.
Mr. Price, did you hear that?
Well, I'm practically deaf, and I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, and
You,
He doesn't talk.
you want to come back up? And AJ, would you repeat that,
I can try.
if that's okay? Verbatim.
Yeah. Because there has been no collection history at this point, in order to sell the bonds, we have to make sure that there is a legally available repayment source. But Baker Tilly is estimating that there would be 192% debt coverage, so the anticipation is that food and beverage tax will be a sufficient repayment source, but we have to have a backup built in to the ordinance. But the hope is, and the anticipation is that that won't be necessary based on the financial projections.
Okay. Well, I've seen a lot of hope and anticipation that never comes around, and then you're stuck with it.
Well, and perhaps we talked about in Finance Committee, kind of knowing our lanes, and I'm not a financial advisor, but I understand what's been relayed to me. So if there are more specific questions and you want to do a deeper dive, then maybe it would make sense to invite a Baker Tilly representative to the podium.
Evening.
Good evening.
Heidi Amsbell with Baker Tilly. Thank you for having me this evening. Yes, we are the financial advisors for the city and have been assisting with this financing. As I think you all have seen through past feasibility studies, we are anticipating about $740,000 of excess food and beverage revenues over on top of the long-term debt payment itself. And that is a conservative estimate based off of census data that we get to actually do the food and beverage calculations itself. So I do have the schedule in front of me if you need to take a look at it. So, and I would maybe just add, it is general revenues of the city that the bond is being paid from. We are anticipating using food and beverage revenues. Really, the property tax backup is on the bond issue for what we call credit enhancement. Essentially, to get the lowest interest rate possible, you want the property tax backup on the bond issue. But we do have to prove to bond counsel that there is reasonable expectation, that's legal terms, that you will never have to levy the property tax to pay the bond issue. So that is why we're showing, plenty of coverage over the bond that's anticipated right now.
And if these numbers do come in correct, we can pay off early and.
Yeah, we will allow flexibility on the long-term bond issue to pay that off early, yeah. The ban is anticipated for 1 year.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so that was opposed. Would anyone like to come up in favor of this ordinance, speak in favor of this ordinance?
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Walker, and I serve as Director of the Wayne County Convention and Tourism Bureau, 5701 National Road East, Richmond. I feel it's extremely important to mention that the food and beverage tax dollars generated through this tax are much more than just local food and beverage dollars being generated. It also includes visitor food and beverage spending dollars as well. Every year, tourism co-ops with the Indiana Destination Development Corporation to perform an annual visitor spending report based on real-time collection data. We just received our 2024 economic impact findings. In 2024, Richmond-Wayne County annual spending by visitors totaled $185.5 million, representing an 8.4% increase over our 2023 visitor spending of $171 million. These numbers do not include any local expenditures, only visitor spending, which is defined as a minimum of 50-plus miles outside of this area. In 2024, out of the $185.5 million of total visitor spending, food and beverage accounted for $69.7 million, or 38% of all visitor spending in 2024, reflecting a 9% increase in 24 food and beverage expenditures over 2023 numbers. Many area residents and businesses I have talked to want to know specific projects that F&B monies will be funding. This bond appreciation note spells out in detail a list of immediate and priority projects using F&B monies as its repayment source, with an estimated debt service coverage of 192%, which is unheard of. These projects are investments in our parks, not just for our local citizens, but also for our visitors, who in turn will be paying the 1% food and beverage tax, allowing us as a community to utilize other people's monies. It is a phenomenal tool when we can utilize other people's monies to enhance our own assets for the betterment of everyone. We encourage the council tonight to please vote in favor of the ban as well as long-term bonds. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. President, if I heard that right, outsiders are going to account for $700,000 of the annual proceeds from this tax, half of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's great news.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Ms. Walker. Would anyone like to come forward and speak in opposition of ordinance 11? Would anybody like to come forward and speak in favor of ordinance 11? Melissa? You looked most excited.
You knew I was eager, didn't you? Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for allowing us to address this tonight. I want to speak tonight on behalf of the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce, 33 South 7th Street. And the Chamber of Commerce is built on the idea that a thriving city requires a delicate balance between robust economy and a high quality of life. We're here tonight to voice our support for the proposed ban and bond. What makes this proposal particularly compelling is the fiscal responsibility. By utilizing the existing food and beverage tax that you all voted for recently, we're addressing critical needs without asking for an allocation out of the general budget or reserves, and we're not adding a fresh burden to our residents' wallets. Due to legislation, this money can only be used for parks and trails. That's not something that we set, that's not something that you set, but that's something that the state legislator set with this legislation. And I think that's an important note, not just for us here tonight, but for our residents to know that we can't spend this money on anything else. This is smart growth in action. We're taking a revenue stream already in place and leveraging it to tackle problems that will only become more expensive the longer we wait. We've all seen the toll of deferred maintenance, whether it's crumbling infrastructure and aging facilities. These aren't cosmetic issues. They're liabilities. Regardless of the reason for the current state of our parks, we can only make decisions on the best path forward. Safety. Our residents deserve a safe environment for recreation. A park that is well maintained is a park that is used. A playground that is safe is a playground that builds community. As business leaders, we know that a public investment drives private investment, and with our public spaces shining, surrounding property values will as well. This creates that halo effect that benefits every homeowner and every business owner in the city. On behalf of the Chamber, I encourage you to pass this. Thank you for passing the ban tonight, but also encourage you to pass the bond for long-term gain. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone like to speak in opposition? Would anyone like to speak in favor of? Anyone else want to speak in favor of ordinance number 11?
Move for engrossment.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to engross. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Call the question.
Second.
We have the call to question in a second. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Doug Goss,
Aye.
Lucinda Wright,
No.
Bill Engel,
Aye.
Larry Parker,
Aye.
Ann Taylor,
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumbelow.
Aye.
Jerry Purcell.
Aye.
Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
8-1 in favor.
All right, ordinance number 12.
Ordinance number 12, 2026, an ordinance of the City of Richmond appropriating the proceeds of the general revenue bond anticipation notes of 2026.
Okay, ordinance 12 is also on second reading, is also on public hearing. Would anyone like to come and speak in favor of ordinance 12?
Mr. President,
Mr. Purcell.
AJ, is this the proper time to amend? I thought so. Yes, I would like to make a motion to amend ordinance number 12 to include Exhibit A, which is a list of the projects.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to amend ordinance 12, which would incorporate Exhibit A,
Which is a list of projects.
which is a list of the projects.
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else, Mr. Purcell?
Just that the Finance Committee also discussed this, and once again, I want to reiterate that the object here initially is to, as brought up in the speaking in favor of, the infrastructure that has deteriorated in our parks and the immediate need to take care of those infrastructure, or what I would like to call deferred maintenance. And I do, and the committee does, expect to see a plan in the future for how we're going to avoid this. Another thing I would like to mention is this all started out as a temporary tax, and now I hear everyone talking about it as a permanent tax, including our mayor. And I think that's something that we need to consider in the future, whether or not this is a permanent tax or not. I know that all discussion, when it initially was brought about, talking about the food and beverage, it was talked about as a temporary tax in order to catch our parks up on the maintenance. Thank you.
Just for clarity, it does have a sunset date of 46?
Yes, it does, but
It's
we talked about sunsetting it prior to that.
46? Okay. Okay, thank you. Anyone that would like to speak in favor of ordinance 12? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition of ordinance 12?
Move
Hearing
for
none.
engrossment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to engross. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Call the question.
Second.
We have a call for the question and a second. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Doug Goss,
Aye.
Lucinda Wright,
No?
Bill Engel,
Aye.
Larry Parker,
Aye.
Ann Taylor,
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumbelow.
Aye.
Jerry Purcell.
Aye.
Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
8-1 in favor.
Thank you. The miscellaneous items, Mr. Parker?
The only thing I'd like to comment on is there's been some discussion about changing our time from 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock. I'm opposed to that. I have a little bit of history to tell the council about that. When I first became a member of the council 40-some years ago, I was told that the reason that it was made for 7 o'clock was the fact that those people who were working in regular jobs usually got out for sometime around 5 o'clock. And if that was the case, they wouldn't be able to make earlier meetings, and so they made it for 7 o'clock. The other thing I think that we should not make it at 6 o'clock is because of the fact that those people who are in the audience that like to speak, one either in favor or in opposition or just to be informed, it's very difficult for those people who have jobs to make it here by 6 o'clock. And I think 7 o'clock is a much better time for the council to meet. I also think that 6 o'clock would be extremely difficult for the Finance Committee because they need an hour, so that would mean that they would have to get here by 5 o'clock. And those people who have jobs that don't get off until 5 o'clock, it would be impossible for those 4 people, whoever they may be in the future, to be on the Finance Committee. Now, I'm speaking from a position of being retired, so that it doesn't really affect me as far as the number of hours that we go here. But I think for the future and for the possibility of anybody who wants to be on council and happens to have a full-time job, that would eliminate a lot of those people to be on there. Therefore, I'm not in favor of the 6 o'clock meeting. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Parker.
Larry.
Would anybody else like to comment on that, on council?
I work till 5 o'clock every day, and I kind of agree with Larry.
So could we take a poll and send me some information on what works best by the conclusion of this week?
Larry, thank you for your explanation. I appreciate that, and I agree with it.
Mr. President?
Mr. Purcell?
Under miscellaneous, I'd like to hopefully quickly make a statement. I totally changed. I was against the food and beverage tax as well as the bonding issue. We have set some parameters on that. But let me explain one of the reasons why. Even though one has nothing to do with the other, I do know our city's finances. And we have a goal of balancing the budget in two more budget years. Right now, in order to keep the police force in good automobiles, we need to buy 18 cars a year. I believe in this year's budget, there's 2 cars for the police department. And these are issues that we have to address. One being totally different, and I understand that. But in trying to balance the budget and also support our essential services, we're going to have to be very keen in the way we approach this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. Parker.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Bill, I love you.
You don't want your crayons, but
I don't think you like my here, take these home to the kids.
my wife will take them to her class.
I have grandkids.
There you go.
I'm taking mine home.
Wear some last. I said, I haven't brought crayons.
No, I do.
AJ,
What?
did you send that?
Michael, how are you, buddy?
Have you sent that?
Oh, Stefan. Oh, Donnie Benedict. Maybe he's not on the council.
Okay,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
that's my board was asking.
I didn't do it.
Because everybody had it on their calendar.
Somebody said he needed them.
I sent him the information about A House, and then I also sent
Watching
him.
WGTV Channel 11, part of the Whitewater Community Television family
Okay.
of stations.